Hola muchachos, this is El Nuzador. Sorry, excuse me. Hola muchachos, this is El Nuzador, and you're watching Mania. What's that? Okay? No, it's not no. Well, I'm gonna have to do that again. We're live, pal? You're watching Creative Tucson, 5 on 20, where the news isn't fake, it's predetermined. I'm El Nuzador with your top stories off the top rope as we take a look back at the events from this weekend's ultimate thrill ride, WrestleMania, or how it's referred to in some households, Wrestling Christmas. This is not meant to offend, as we would also like to take a 5 count to acknowledge Wrestling Hanukkah and the less celebrated Wrestling Kwanzaa. To avoid future confusion with analogies, December is being deemed Holiday Mania beginning later this year. First, here's the scoop slam on what WrestleMania is for you non-enlightened humanoids out there. There seems to be some confusion that this reporter will clear up right now. WrestleMania is the showcase of the immortals, the culmination of a year's worth of WWE television and stories. It's both the beginning and end of the figurative season fused together in one mega-packed night. This is unlike when wrestling simply rolls into town and is at the local sports arena. You may hear some slack-jawed townie tell you that WrestleMania is in town at the TCC on some odd day in October, and this reporter will clear the air about that right now. And it is your duty to do this as well as a real fanatic of the product. When you are confronted with this situation, simply goozle the throat of this absent-minded jabroni, and with an abrupt seriousness that borders on madness, you simply look the person in the eyes, grit your teeth, and spit and say, "Mom, WrestleMania is not in town, wrestling is in town." Remind them wrestling is happening everywhere, every weekend, somewhere. In the minds of dreaming children, in the pools of dating frat boys, and in the hearts of disabled pets. WrestleMania is magic. You can then finish the conversation with your still goozled mother by chokeslamming her through a table just when she gets the message. But be aware, her tag team partner, Dad, may be lurking around the corner with the belt, if you catch my drift. Sunday dinners at the Nuzador home were always exciting, but enough childhood trauma, as me padre called it, training. Let's get on to the action because I've got your headlines in a headlock. Let's go to the matches. But before we go to the matches, the wrestling weekend kicked off in classic WrestleMania fashion with the annual tradition of WrestleMan heritage, that is the WWE Hall of Fame. Shocks and surprises included the return of Eric Bischoff to induct Diamond Dallas Page with a bang. And even more shocking was the appearance of one James E. Cornette, returning to induct the Rock and Roll Express. Corny as he is known to his enemies, has not been seen on WWE television in years and can usually be found on the internet burying the product like The Undertaker buries WrestleMania opponents. More on that story later. The Hall of Fame culminated in the addition of walking thumb and Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle. Angle's induction into the Hall of Fame is well-deserved and almost overdue. But wrestling fans around the world can agree that it's good to have Angle back home. It's true. It's damn true. Other notable entrants to the Hall of Fame class of 2017 were the Glamazon Beth Phoenix and longtime SmackDown GM and co-star of WWE Ride-Along's pilot episode with The Undertaker, Teddy Long. Buckle up, Teddy. You're in the Hall of Fame. The legendary Rick Rude was posthumously inducted and his family accepted on his behalf, reminding the crowd of fat, out of shape, Orlando sweat hogs to keep the noise down as we imagine their father taking his robe off and gyrating in heaven with an image of Mary airbrushed on his tights to a chorus of angels. It was truly a beautiful moment. The festivities continued Saturday night, and that's when the action of WrestleMania weekend truly began. NXT invited us into their home with NXT TakeOver Orlando. Emanating from Orlando, and the brand served up a Thanksgiving-sized feast, hold the gobbledygooker. A highlight of the event included the unveiling of brand new title belts across the board of the entire division. On a night unlike a Thanksgiving aftermath, every belt stayed buckled and each champion successfully defended the gold around their waist. except that is for the reigning tag team champions, the Authors of Pain, who carry the belts on their shoulders because each man is the size of a streetcar. A frontrunner for Match of the Year was in fact the tag team triple threat elimination match between the reigning NXT tag team champs, the Authors of Pain, who would defeat the teams of DIY of Ciampa and Gargano and the Revival, Dawson and Wilder, in tremendous hard-hitting fashion. What seemed like an actual demolition derby of humanity at times, the Authors of Pain would prove too large to topple as the daring double team maneuvers between tag team rivals DIY and the Revival would make for many OMG moments, but ultimately keep the gold over the shoulders of the Authors of Pain, who seem to have written the book on dominance and destruction of the tag team division with a foreword by Paul Ellering. Other victors of the evening included Sanity, Asuka successfully eclipsing Ember Moon for the NXT Women's Championship, and Bobby Roode continuing his glorious domination over the division by defeating Shinsuke Nakamura in a tremendous battle. Expect to see Shinsuke making his debut to the main roster soon, perhaps even as soon as tonight. Now it's on to the main attraction. Put that cigarette out! Now it's on to the main attraction of the weekend, WrestleMania, a 6-hour-long event filled with pre-show analysis, musical acts, and more fireworks than a Chinese New Year. We saw the King of the Cruiserweights Neville defeat a double Austin Aries. Mojo Rawley won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal with the help of Ron Gronkowski, who is a famous sports ball player of some sort. And Dean Ambrose successfully defended his Intercontinental Championship against Baron Corbin. And this was all on the pre-show. Unbelievable. The night began in exciting fashion as... What's that? How did the night begin? You can show them how the night began. We couldn't afford the footage. Oh, no, all right. Do it, just, okay. The night began. Oh, WrestleMania! Don't you dare be sour. Clap for your WrestleMania hosts and feel the power. It was the New Day. Yes, it was. And the New Day was daring not to be sour, coming out in a Final Fantasy-themed start to the show. The New Day would do a great job hosting, not getting in the way of the action, leaving us with plenty of hilarity throughout the night, in addition to some surprises. The first official match on the card was AJ Styles versus Shane McMahon. This was a hard-hitting opening that saw Shane go coast to coast and pillar to post, crash through announce tables, and he threw more rabbit punches than Bugs Bunny versus the Crusher in their classic meeting way back in WrestleMania 2. AJ would prove phenomenal with a big win over SmackDown's commissioner, making a match that not only a lot of people seemed interested in, Corey Graves, not interested, but was an exciting start to the show. Next was a rivalry as personal as it gets. As former best friends, despite claims to the controversy, Kevin Owens would attempt to turn the lights out on Y2J, Chris Jericho. The match was high impact, without a punch being pulled as the blood was boiling and the fists flew during this clash of Canadians. Owens was fingertips away from his opportunity at revenge against former friend Jericho after a codebreaker left him laying with only enough strength to get a single finger on the rope to break up the pinfall and create a timeless WrestleMania moment. It was this ring awareness and resilience that would lead the patented pop-up powerbomber on the apron to Chris Jericho and ultimately mean the Ayatollah of Rock and Roll's defeat at the hands of KO, who is your new United States champion. The Women's Revolution. It rolled on through WrestleMania with the Raw Women's title on the line between Nia Jax, Sasha Banks, Charlotte Flair, and everybody's kid sister, Bayley, in a fatal four-way match for the ages. Bayley would pull off a decisive, clean win, pinning Charlotte Flair to signify a title victory free of any controversy that had Charlotte even believing in Bayley from the look on her face, and Bayley living the hug life on top of the mountain of the women's division. Next on the card was the tag team triple threat ladder match between Gallows and Anderson, Sheamus and Cesaro, and Enzo and Cass. And what experts thought would be a boyhood dream coming true for Enzo and Cass, the night would take a different path because of a simple twist of fate. The surprise return of the Hardy Boys would lead to over 75,000 plus fans to leap out of their chairs as Team Extreme would make a triumphant return to the WWE in the match they made famous. They would even recapture the WWE Tag Team Gold and delete the competition in one of the most spectacular matches of the night, which saw Jeff Hardy leap off of a 20-foot ladder as Matt ascended to the titles and, upon grabbing them, declaring the title reign of the club to be over. Next up, John Cena would have a WrestleMania rematch with The Miz, but this time in mixed tag fashion with their significant others involved. Just how significant? After delivering their signature moves in stereo, John Cena and Nikki Bella would be victorious over The Miz and Maurice, but it was True Love that was the victor this night, as John Cena would add a 6th move of doom to his 5-move repertoire by dropping a knee. The Superman of wrestling would drop that knee to the mat in a sincere moment of reality in which he would ask his longtime girlfriend Nikki to marry him. All jokes aside, this reporter was moved because for Cena, a guy whose life is wrestling, I'm happy that this special moment was a part of wrestling. With Cena nipping at the heels of beating Ric Flair's championship reign, it's good to see he has set plans in motion for his post-in-ring career. It's going to be several divorces before Cena can match the record that Flair has set in that category as well, which Flair has set at 4. A familiar sign to the Nature Boy, which means if Cena is to topple this record, he'd have to do it in 5. Next up, Hunter Hearst Helmsley, also known as Triple H, also known as the Trips, also known as the Cerebral Assassin, also known as Vince's favorite son, also known as the Creator, also known as simply what his kids refer to him as, the Game, would save the biggest Mania entrance for himself as he rode down a custom motorcycle flanked by Stephanie McMahon and a police motorcade. He wouldn't be outshined by Seth freaking Rollins, who would come out with a torch that he claims is passed gloriously as golden as a garage sale at Gold Dust he was dressed. The Kingslayer would successfully commit the regicide he sought as he toppled Triple H, finally delivering a richly deserved pedigree to the King of Kings. We would make our way to the main event portions of the night with WWE title match between Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton. Bray would use all manner of mind games on Randall as he would implement giant projected visuals of maggots, bloodworms, and roaches onto the canvas to try and get in the head of the #1 contender. But Randy wasn't all shook up as he delivered a devastating RKO from exactly where you would expect to get one, in the center of the ring. This puts Randy in the teens of title victories, which means we may soon see Cena versus Orton to take the all-time record in the coming years, making Cena versus Orton number 238 look promising as a standout above the previous 237 encounters. After we made our way to the biggest draw of the evening between the Beast, Brock Lesnar... What's that? Am I saying that correctly? No? How is it pronounced? Is it Bork? Bork Laser? No? What? Oh, okay. All right, I got it. We saw the main event draw of it between Brock Lesnar versus Goldberg for the WWE Universal Championship. In a hard-hitting match featuring a new match move record between these two behemoths, it totaled in 4. 4 impressive moves, a repetitive delivery of spears, versus the attack of German suplexes as Brock would bring Goldberg to Suplex City, which would culminate in Brock Lesnar kicking out of Mr. Goldberg's other move, the jackhammer, which would lead to Brock delivering his other move, the F5. Brock would capture the WWE Universal title, and with the Beast in firm possession of the gold for the first time in years, it begs the question, who's next now? A slight cool down before the final match of the evening was the SmackDown Women's Fatal 5-Way, or was it 6? This reporter seems to have lost track because there was a surprise entrance in this fast-paced match of action, and we could see the returning Naomi ensure that the reigning champ, Alexa Bliss, felt the glow as she synced in a brutal submission, trapping the arms of my not-so-secret crush and causing her to tap out, losing her title to the hometown Orlando girl Naomi, who you may forget used to be a Funkadactyl. Never give up on your dreams, kids. It doesn't matter where you are now, you can always reach the pinnacle of any mountain. This reporter is told there was a musical performance by Mr. Worldwide Pitbull and Flo Rida, apparently, but this reporter must have missed it while preparing nachos, which instead I will report on now. El Nuzador's super secret identity nachos consist of cheese, peppers, onions, and salsa, toasted to perfection and served with a tag team of guacamole and lime. Unmask the flavor. Now, on to the main event of the show, which delivered on the tagline of the ultimate thrill ride. The roller coaster of emotion left fans dizzy, nauseous, and with tears in their eyes as The Undertaker would fall for only the second time in WrestleMania history to one Roman Reigns. It was wildly speculated that this match would be the dead man's last ride, and he did prove this rumor to be true, when upon exiting the arena, The Undertaker removed his gloves, his trench coat, and signature hat, folding them and leaving them behind in the center of the ring. Next year, when WrestleMania emanates from New Orleans, you can bet on the fact that the Phenom will be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. And that's the bottom line for this WrestleMania 33, also known as one wedding and a funeral. The pageantry, the action, the emotion, that's real, and it's still real to me, damn it. Fans can look forward to the WrestleMania fallout on the most exciting Monday of the year, as the post-Raw WrestleMania is a blockbuster which starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific. Wait, that specifically means now, actually. I believe that's what that means. So, well, this is El Nuzador saying that I've got to go. With all of the scoop slams and keeping your headlines in a headlock. This is El Nuzador tagging out. Adios, muchachos.